Hello, good evening, and welcome to the final episode of this project. Uh, it is 10:26 p.m. on the 13th of July, 2024. I've mentioned this a few times recently, but this is a part of what I've written. Today's episode, or today's audio log, is partially scripted. Unlike my other ones where I've just kind of talked about things that have come to me in that moment, I have prepared something for the final episode for today. I wanted to ensure that I covered the key points and the major events of this past year and remained on track, because I have a tendency to go on tangents and forget what I was originally talking about, and then it all becomes a bit of a confusing mess. So the only way I could, remain on track is to write a script. And so here we are. There is also the chance that I expand on a thought that I've written down here. I may, just start talking about something that's related, but not necessarily that I've written down. So that's why I said partially scripted. It feels strange to say this is the final episode. I have fallen into a rhythm after doing this for so long, and it's weird to think that I won't do this again tomorrow. I know I've missed a few days over the past year, so unfortunately there won't be a perfect year's worth of videos in this project, but I'm still proud of what I've produced, and I think overall I've done a very good job. Today is number 308, I believe. So I've only missed just under 2 months worth of audio logs, and some of those were substituted by posts that I made, like written posts instead. So I think if I'm counting those as part of this project, then I would say I've done closer to 330. But yeah, I've definitely missed a few. Regardless, and I know I've said this many times before, but the original goal for this project was to archive my daily thoughts and compile them all into one place so I could return to them in the future and remember everything I got up to. Additionally, it would allow me to compare different versions of myself, the past to the present, and pinpoint exactly how much I've grown and changed as an individual. I knew there was value in that when I came up with this idea in the first place, but now I can see it, especially after rewatching or re-listening to my first audio log to help me write this script. The difference is noticeable. And on that note, I've also said this many times before, but I've changed significantly over the past year. Somehow, I chose the perfect time to start this project because it has aligned with some of my life's most significant decisions and events. Since I began, I've realized many things about the people around me and myself. I have worked towards improving my physical and mental health. I've parted ways with close friends and adapted to spending more time alone. And I've even decided to further my education and enroll at university, something I thought impossible a few years ago. I am very proud of myself for reaching this point, which is something I haven't always been able to say. Battling with mental health is something a lot of people do every day. So, allow me to take this opportunity to remind you that it's not an impossible fight and you can prevail. I'm not saying I don't struggle with that anymore, because I definitely do. However, I am in a considerably better position than just 1 year ago. And to be honest, I have put work into, to improving my mental health, but I haven't done everything I possibly could have. There are many things I could have done to make even more progress, but I just chose to do the things that I was happy with, and even with just that, I have made great progress. So I hope this small part of my journey that I have recorded can inspire or motivate you to do the same. Mental health it's a vast subject with many, things to consider, and everyone goes through it a little bit differently. They go through it in their own way. And I think it's important to take the time to realize exactly how you deal with it, or don't deal with it. I mean, everyone's different, but choose, if you're seeking to improve your mental health, then I think realizing the best way for yourself to get through it and going down that route is probably better than the general or generic advice that people often share. Don't get me wrong, that's great too, and just all I'm saying is do what works for you, and in time you'll get better, hopefully. I'm rooting for you. But anyway, moving on. I'm starting to feel a little like a broken record with how many things I've repeated over the last few months. But I can't adequately express how ecstatic and relieved I feel about the near future, specifically moving out and going to university. It took me 8 years to figure out this next step, but I finally feel ready. And I chose a course that I believe will build on pre-existing knowledge and also teach me a new skill that can be applied to almost anything, making sure that I am keeping doors of opportunity open for the future. Because I don't necessarily want to commit myself to a specific career path just yet. I wanted to keep my options open, and I think more importantly, give myself more time to figure out what I want to do with my life. Because this is a big step for me. And, I'm soon to be 24 years old. And usually at this point in life, at least, the older generations, they would say that at this point you should, kind of know what you're doing. You should have a job. You should, do this and do that. And I've realized that going through life at your own pace is far better than listening to people who've already gone through that stage of their lives. And, not giving in to the peer pressure of, oh, you're fresh out of high school, go get a job. Or, whatever it is. Like, I used to beat myself up so much. When I finished high school in 2016, and I saw all of my old school friends go off and, move on to the next step of their education, which here in the UK is college, or some of them, would go get jobs or whatever. And I tried my best to keep up with them and remain on the same level as them. But I was not ready. I was simply not ready. And I ended up forcing myself into situations that triggered immense feelings of anxiety, and it amplified my depression, and I was in such a bad place, all because I wanted to keep up with my friends. So it took me a few years to realize that, it actually doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when you do certain things. It doesn't matter when you get your first job. It doesn't matter when you buy your first car, or you buy your first house, or it doesn't matter when you get married, or anything like that. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. Do things at your own pace, at a pace that you're comfortable with. Take the time to figure out what you want. And, I also realize in this moment that not everyone is going to be granted that opportunity. I am actually quite lucky that I've been able to spend so much time doing next to nothing and figuring out what I want to do. I've been lucky enough to have a roof over my head and, food on the table, and not everyone's going to have that, and I realize that. But I think as long as you're not pushing yourself too hard, and you're not pushing yourself to the point where you're in a worse position than when you were before. Just look after yourselves, take the time to wind down, and if you need to talk to someone, then do that. Whatever you need to do, just do it. Because otherwise, all that work you're putting into, keeping up with, even if that's not your goal, is to keep up with people around you, but just I don't know. I think you understand what I'm trying to say. But yeah. Anyway, so alongside going to university and moving out, um, I'm going to be leaving or moving out of my parents' home for the first time in my life, which I I know will also grant me some benefits. Um, my independence should grow substantially. I'll be shouldering more responsibility, and I'm hoping that those two things combined, along with the other obstacles that I'll face, will catalyze personal growth within me like nothing else I've experienced so far. I really do have high hopes for the future. I'm optimistic for what feels like the first time in my life. However, I'm aware that it won't necessarily be a walk in the park either. I expect obstacles along the way. I'd be foolish not to. The next few years will likely be some of the hardest I've faced, but I'm looking forward to them nonetheless. From what I've heard from people who've been to university, mainly my sister, really, she had the time of her life at university. And that's kind of the same sentiment that I've picked up from other people as well. That even though it's definitely difficult, and depending on which course you take, it can be quite grueling at times. But I've always heard that people have also just had the time of their lives, and I suppose I'm hoping for that as well. And like I said, I have high hopes. I'm very excited to start meeting new people and living essentially what will be a new life for me. It's a huge step, but it's an important one, and one that I'm gonna try my best to take full advantage of. So, yeah. I suppose on that note as well, I am quickly approaching a turning point in my life. Regardless of what happens, I know this is the right decision. I have spent far too much time living a miserable life amongst miserable people in a miserable home, and I'm tired of it. I'm exhausted. It is... I don't think I can put into words adequately what it's like living here in this house with these people. It genuinely feels like a living nightmare at some points. I would describe it as like a mixture or a combination of a nursing home and a prison. It's highly unpleasant, and unfortunately, it has been that way for the majority of my life since I was about 5-6 years old. So I think, yeah, that is one of, if not the biggest reason why I am so looking forward to this next chapter of my life. So I'll finally be free of this. Yeah. Anyway, I think you get the point. So, yeah, I mean, I want to go out there and live. I want to experience what life has to offer. and enjoy all the best bits along the way. I absolutely need this. But yeah, I think that will be everything for today. I've gone through my script, well, not fully yet, but I've kind of touched on all the important parts, I think, and overall, I think there's a positive message behind this. I'm looking forward to starting up the next project. But let me finish the script real quick, and then yeah, I'll maybe have some other thoughts afterwards. But yeah, so thank you for being here and taking a few minutes out of your day to hear about my journey. I appreciate anyone who has stopped by over the past year. It's been lovely to share these stories with you and these experiences and these moments. Even if I wasn't necessarily planning on doing this for other people originally, I can't deny that a handful of people have taken interest, and I'm glad that they have, to be honest. I'm looking forward to sharing the next chapter with those people as well. But until then, I will be taking the rest of the month off and returning in August for the in-between, or liminal, as someone kindly suggested. Thank you for that, by the way. The in-between or liminal project before starting the next major one in September, once I have begun university. So, yeah. This is it. This is the end. It's been a great year for me. I hope it's been an equally good year for anyone else who's taken the time to listen. Yeah, thank you. I'll be back shortly, and I will catch you next time. Good night, and goodbye.